Hello and welcome to the Change Gang podcast with me, your host, Laura Ordile. I'm here to help you hold on to your sanity and your soul as you move through big change. I'm here to guide you from frustration to flow in your life, bridging the practical and the woo, just for you. Let's go. Hey Change Gang, welcome to the week. We are going to take a little wander into the wild with Aquarius today and talk a little bit about how all the different planets might show up when they're in Aquarius, how they kind of influence the life a little bit. So Aquarius in general, they're the nonconformists, the humanitarians, they're the networkers, and they have a lot of acquaintances, and they love quantum physics and or quantum jumping. They're the innovators and the inventors, and they're really interesting. So if your sun is in Aquarius, it's really going to mean that you want to find new ways to do things for yourself especially. But sharing the great things that you find with the world is a total joy. The energy of possibility for all of humanity is something you bring to all of us. So thanks for that. And it depends sometimes what the big influence is on the change that you want to bring us, where it sits in what house in your chart. So it would take a long time to go through each house for each position of these, but there is a little bit more influence that goes into that, but that's a little bit of general stuff there. With an Aquarian moon, you're going to be strongly intuitive. Ideas of what to do, what's next, the best way will guide you, especially emotionally. You'll feel it emotionally, even though it'll be an idea. It'll be like, ooh, yeah, that feels good, that feels right. It's hardest for you to really explore your own heart, though, and move into the emotions that are in there and the things that you see inside yourself, your own deep emotions. And remember that talking about your emotions is great, but you actually have to allow yourself to feel them, to take the time to understand them, and that can be a little bit hard for you lovely little Aquarians. And I get that. I have a lot of air signs and it's similar for me too. But remember, you don't have to dwell in it. Sometimes just acknowledging, moving through, moving on is a great way for you to allow yourself to feel into those things. Keep that in mind and know that it's great. It's great to be out there helping and saving others, because that's a lot of what you're going to do. Is your heart is to help people, is to help the animals, is to help the world. It's all there. You need to be doing that yourself as well. Your heart will be so happy if you let it explore all of the weird and wonderful of our universe. Do not limit it there. Go be different. You need to be friendly to have an Aquarian's heart, by the way. Having that friendship and having someone friendly in their life is incredibly important. So it's not just about loving someone, it's about having that connection of friendship as well. And if your Saturn sits in Aquarius, there's a lot of independence here, for sure. You likely had to depend on yourself a lot, especially in the earlier years. I would say you probably had to really be independent. So there may be a lot of distance sometimes in the relationships that you go to move into. Your outer circle is really full and wide, but that inner circle is small and likely lifelong, because taking the time for you to actually trust someone to be a part of what you're doing and trust someone to have those conversations with around your feelings, it's going to take you a little bit of time. That's okay. Just keep practicing it. You're here to stand out and to be okay being a bit different and showing others that we can all connect at some level. Or you can choose to stand apart, totally in isolation, but that's not really the path that you're meant to live up to. It is kind of the more shadow side of Saturn and Aquarius. because you will find that you may have a lot of life lessons around this that show you that it is super important to be engaged in those acquaintances, the friendships, the world, things like that. And when you're doing that, you're going to feel like life is going a lot smoother and a lot better for you. With Aquarius, Mercury in Aquarius, this is like love, 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 love. Mercury is actually exalted here. And these people, you are smart and maybe somewhat eccentric, but always able to process information pretty easily. I would say pretty easily. You're the rule breakers, and you have fun finding sneaky little ways to sidetrack the rules, because being blatant about it just wouldn't be any fun. Your mind here is always thinking of ways to have a better, more interesting future for yourself and for the world in general. Whether you might not even realize that those are some of the thoughts that come in, but if you're looking at how things can be done better, maybe around your office, around work, around your community, around something like that, you're thinking about the future and how things can really improve. So you are doing that. Your mind is strong and a little rebellious, but full of life. You let your mind go where it wants to, not where others say it should. And that's a great thing to do. That's important for this placement, is to let your mind go and find your own little way of doing something, your own way of thinking about something, and not what somebody else tells you is the way that you should think about it. Routine and change are important for your mind to stay peaceful and engaged. Choose your weird. You choose your weird. It's all up to you. And then Venus in Aquarius, what you love. You need to have your mind engaged. If you have an Aquarian in your life with this placement, they need conversation. They need to have that stimulation of all the interesting things that can come up in a conversation, because it takes their mind to these really sometimes intricate, interesting places where their brain has stored all of this information that they want to come out and then share in a wonderful, wonderful way. And they do what they do best. They connect and they love it. And so if you have a loved one or you have someone that's there, that's a great little tip for you in really bringing them into a place that they are super happy. So if you have Mars in Aquarius, you talk often. And wow, the energy that you put out into the world is really some direct connections to conversation, whether it is actually conversation or through podcasting or through something else. This is an energy that you're going to move through, and you're gonna, sometimes I would say that the energy would be away, it's pushed away from yourself. Having it kind of directed at yourself personally is not as easy for you. You're always going to go, no, I've got to be thinking about these other person, or I've got to do that, or there's this out in the world that needs to be done, or gosh, I want to look into that. So the time that turning yourself, again, your brain and your energy and all of that to yourself, was a little bit harder for you. So take some practice in that. Do some practicing around that and say, yep, I can help that person, but how can I help myself in the same way? And oftentimes, these are people that are going to be moving from person to person to see how they can contribute. You know, that person that is hardly ever at their desk at work. They're off doing this and they're off doing that and they're doing this and this is that person. They're going to be sharing their thoughts around all the things that are in play in maybe the workplace. And they probably know a lot about a lot of the things that are going on around them, whether that is at home or at work or whatever. They've got their thoughts around it all, and they will share that with you. There you go. And they're happy. You know, if this is a placement that you have, you're happy to step in and help out in most situations. Just keep it away from your own home, your own personal space, kind of away from there, wherever your own personal space is. It's much better for you it feels better for you to be going to the park to help out, doing something, to go to someplace else to help with the dogs or saving the whales or doing that. Not really. It's, when you're talking about networking and things, it's not always going to be bringing it home, and that's okay. Go out in the world and do it. Perfectly all right. Aquarius, a North Node. Traditions here don't hold much sway for you unless they're lighthearted and free to flex. So it's not about what has happened or what's gone or what was. It's about what can be, what is there, what things make your own mix kind of come together and come alive. So you might mix astrology and Buddhism and tarot, and that's great. That's fine. Find the unique way that brings you where you want to be. It's not going to be, it will never be the plain version of anything. It won't be the cookie cutter version. It's going to be your version. And that's how it should be, because you're meant to let yourself stand out in this world. That's a big part of it. And remember how truly important you are to this world and to those around you. A little thing to keep in mind is that some stand apart to lead the way into the future. That, my friend, is you, little amazing Aquarius. So there you go. That's Aquarius. I might have stumbled a little bit through some of it, but hopefully you got the gist. And I hope that you're enjoying these. I'd love to know if you are. And if you haven't gotten my guide to the natal and progress moon, I would love for you to do that. And I actually have a little video on how to help you find the progress moon. That's in the Change Gang. So if you're not in there, come on into the Change Gang on Facebook. I'd love to have you join us there. There's a link in the show notes to get you right there. I would love to have you be a part of that. You can also connect with me on Facebook, on Instagram, all of those fun places. Let's get rocking in to the new year. We're finishing out this year in a wonderful last couple of weeks, and I'm glad that you're here with me doing that. I hope that you are relaxing and having some time to do the things you want to do, that the holidays are full of joy for you. All right, there you go. I will meet you right here next week. I hope today's episode was interesting to you in some way and fun. If so, hey, find someone to share it with. Maybe they need to hear it too, or maybe they'll just enjoy it. If you'd like, go ahead and grab my tips on supercharging your success. It includes a free short meditation to do just that. You can find that at bit.ly/supercharge your success. Until next time, happy day.